Hello Internet. Today we have this power collar, and I normally do not take these things in for repair unless they do not post. If they post and they crash or artifact or freeze, I'm not taking them. That means they very likely have a problem with the core, which cannot be fixed. So it's just way too common for these cards to, not this particular cards, but the cards that have a 6800, 6900 cores. So it's to a point where you lose your mind when you finally reballed everything there is to reball, fixed everything there is to fix, just to find out that this thing has a dead core. Absolutely sickening experience fixing these cards. So, but this one does not post. That gives me a 50-50 chance that we may have a faulty memory chip, that either replacing the chip or reballing the core would solve the problem, or maybe there's something else. Maybe we even have issues with the BIOS or something that can be fixed that's not automatically going to land on top of a dead core. So what are we seeing right now? We are waiting for something to show up on the screen. Nothing's on the screen. Okay, let's go into the Linux and see if we can we cannot detect anything. I don't think so. The fans just maxed out. I'm guessing we're gonna have a dropout student here, basically a GPU that was dropped off the top of the building and landed on its head, in which case the core is probably dead, the pads are probably ripped. Why am I even in this menu? I do not know. I need to boot into a completely different drive. So let's select this drive and boot from that instead. We're booting into Ubuntu that I absolutely despise. Now, Ubuntu is cool. It's just messed up, that's all. Just like any other Linux distro out there, they're all messed up. So many windows, so many built-in applications coded by random people that do not follow any kind of standard. So we're having a 6800 number 4. I think that's what it is. So the test ran very quick. We're gonna quit, I'm gonna type in LSPCI, and the card is not on the list of the devices that are plugged into the computer power off. So we have a no detect. So that's good and bad at the same time, because the fans are spinning at the 100% RPM, all three of them, which means the card is probably, as you can hold, well, you can't really see it, can you see it? See that little, I don't know, who cares? Either way, let's take it apart. The thing that always scares me is that there's this quality check, okay, and the P at the bottom. That means it's practically, I don't know, pick a word that starts with the P. Piece of e-waste or whatever. I'm guessing this had already been refurbished before by the manufacturer, because we have a factory sticker that cannot be removed from this particular card, at least not as easily as anybody would want it to be. So we're going to assume that the card is indeed brand spanking new, had never been tampered with other than the manufacturer himself. So what could have possibly gone wrong here? No idea. Let's split this thing in half and admire all the engineering that went into the cutting these little pieces of thermal pads to cool down various parts of the board. So where these pads go, according to the imprint on the pad that was here, they go nowhere. So we're just gonna leave them there. Figure that out. Let's see if we can remove these pads here, sticker them back onto the board, preserving the originality of the card as much as possible, just in case any of them AMD fanboys say anything about me using pads that weren't original, not as good as the original. I don't care. I use what works great. It probably doesn't work the best, but it works good. And it works so good, I use it myself. So what more do you want? Alright, so we're gonna put that there. Move this out of the way. And continue on with just a few more screws so that we can separate the backplate from the actual board and assess the situation, which I don't think is going to be pretty by any stretch of imagination. There. Any more screws? One more screw here. There. Oh, more stuff on the back. Some fancy LEDs and all that good stuff. So what could have possibly gone wrong in here? I have no idea. Let's do the basic test with a data line tester. Plug that thing in. See how many lights lighting up. All of them. So that's good, that's promising. But why do the fans ramp up to 100% and why do we have a no detect? That's a very good question. I'm gonna go look around the card. Actually no, there's really no point looking around because the card was closed, completely sealed, as if it was brand new. Switching the BIOS chip would probably have no effect on the fan behavior whatsoever. The only thing that could have an effect on the fan is the fact that the board is twisted. Let's see how badly the board is twisted. The board had sagged, as you can see here. If we look from left to right on this ruler, there's clearly a sag near the hook, as you can see there. That means the board is like this. That means we also have Samsung memory chips, so we're probably gonna end up having rip pads under these chips, as well as core is partially detached from the board. So without wasting too much of our worthless time, we're gonna go straight into reballing the core, removing these chips, seeing what's going on. Most likely rip pads on those chips. Chips will probably need to be replaced as a result of that damage, but I'm kind of jumping ahead too far, speculating all sorts of things, where in reality it could be as simple as a dead core, which we can probably check, do some at least visually check and see what the board is doing when it's powered. So let's go and do that real quick. Whip out the thermal camera, which stops working. The more you use it, the less reliable it becomes. What do I mean by that is simply wear and tear of the connector, whether it's the connector on inside of the phone or the connector of the camera itself. 50-50, I'm getting a no connect. See, there you go. Did you see that huge blow right there? That is the reason why this card is a no detect, because the portion of the core is completely shorted out inside and we have a dead core right there. See, there's nothing left to fix. Unfortunately, this thing's going back to the customer, proving me and you once again that these cards are not worth the risk of sending or repair. Just I mean, this is terrible. It is so terrible that even when it does not post, see, I limit myself to a point where I'm not taking them unless they do not post, giving the owner of the card a chance, for very low chance for repair. But even with that, this would not be the first 6900, 6800 card that I get that does not post, and then you power it on and there's something wrong with the core. Yeah, so there we have it. Hopefully this was educating, maybe depressing a little bit, and definitely not entertaining, but educating nonetheless. So, and that if it was, you owe me a like, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.